We shall start from nomenclature of ethers. As usual, first we shall consider common names of these compounds, then we shall write IUPAC names. In common nomenclature, we first write the names of the groups present on either side of ether functional group. In this case, on the left hand side we have a ethyl group, right hand side also we have ethyl group. So we have two ethyl groups. So it's a diethyl, and here you have oxygen. So name of the compound is diethyl ether. So common name of this compound is diethyl ether. Same way, if I come to the next example, here we have methyl group, and what we have here is nothing but N-propyl group. What's the common name of this compound? It has to be methyl N-propyl ether. This molecule, if you consider, on one side it's a methyl group, on the other side it's a phenyl group. So common name of this compound is methyl phenyl ether. It has another common name. It is also called anisole. So both of them are common names for this compound. Remember, very important, methyl phenyl ether is also called anisole. Coming to this molecule, here we have ethyl group, here it is a phenyl group. Common name of the compound should be ethyl phenyl ether. Ethyl phenyl ether. It has one more common name. It is called phenetol. It is phenetol. Ethyl phenyl ether is also called phenetol. Right? Now, we will go to the IUPAC names. What should we do? First of all, we have to find out the longest continuous chain of carbon atoms. So when you consider in the first case, whether you start from right to left or you start from left to right, the main chain contains only two carbon atoms. What I mean is, here you see this is the first carbon atom, this is the second carbon atom. So if you consider on the left hand side also it is the same one. Let us say this is the first carbon atom and second carbon atom. Remember, what I consider here is the longest continuous chain of carbon atoms. So in the longest continuous chain we don't have four carbon atoms, because continuity of carbon chain is broken by the presence of oxygen functional group. So when you consider parent hydrocarbon, we have to have only two carbon atoms. So what should be the root word for two carbon atoms? It should be eth, connected by means of single bond, ethane. So once I consider this as the main chain, this entire group will be treated as a substituent. You know, ether functional group can never be principal functional group. That's why ether functional group does not have a secondary suffix. Instead, it is always treated as a substituent. So this group has to be indicated as prefix. So what is the name of the prefix? Here you have a ethyl group, then you have oxygen. So ethyl oxy, it is called ethoxy. So name of the substituent is ethoxy. Where is it present? It is present on the first carbon atom of ethane. So what will be the IUPAC name of the compound? It has to be ethoxy is the name of the substituent prefix, and the root word is ethane. So IUPAC name of the first compound is ethoxyethane. Now, when I come to the second example, you know, longest continuous chain of carbon atoms contains 3 carbon atoms. So 1, 2 and 3. So root word in this case must be prop, and propane must be the parent hydrocarbon. On propane, we have this group, methyl oxy. Methyl oxy group is called methoxy group. So you have a methoxy group on propane. What is the name of the compound? It is a methoxy. Where do you have methoxy? It is present on the first carbon atom. That's why, to be very specific, I'll write it as 1-methoxy. What is the name of the parent hydrocarbon? It is propane. So 1-methoxy propane. So this is the IUPAC name. So IUPAC name, I'm going to write it in the box. So here IUPAC name is 1-methoxy propane. Let's move over to this. So whenever you have a open chain and a cyclic part, you know that the number of carbon atoms will decide what should be the parent hydrocarbon. Here you have only one carbon atom, but in the ring system we have 6 carbon atoms. So we have more number of carbon atoms in the ring system. That's why parent hydrocarbon is benzene. So once benzene is the parent hydrocarbon, you know that OCH3 group should be treated as a substituent. It is a methoxy group. So what should be the IUPAC name of this compound? It has to be methoxy benzene. Methoxy benzene. And even anisole is accepted IUPAC name, anisole. So either it should be methoxybenzene or anisole. So if it is asked in the examination, it is better to write methoxybenzene as the IUPAC name. Same way, if we go to the last example, here we have only 2 carbon atoms, whereas here we have 6 carbon atoms. That's why we have to treat it as a derivative of benzene. So here is a ethyl oxy ethoxy. So you have ethoxy benzene. So what is the IUPAC name of the last molecule? It is ethoxy benzene. So we'll continue with the common name and IUPAC name for these compounds. For the first and the second, even for the third, I can write common name. Yes, here if you consider this is a phenyl group, and here how many carbon atoms are there? 7 carbon atoms are there. So it has to be N-heptyl group, unbranched normal chain containing 7 carbon atoms. So here you have a phenyl group, and here what we have is N-heptyl group. So what is the common name of this compound? It has to be N-heptyl phenyl ether. So this is the common name. So this is N-heptyl group, this is phenyl group, N-heptyl phenyl ether. I'll move over to this molecule for the common name. Here we have a methyl group, and what we have here is nothing but isopropyl group. CH3CHCH3 is isopropyl group. So if I consider the common name, we have a methyl. On the other side, we have isopropyl. So methyl isopropyl ether. Methyl isopropyl ether is the common name. Coming to this, here what we have is a phenyl group. And this group, if you consider common name, altogether there are 5 carbon atoms, pentyl derivative. And on the second carbon atom, you have a methyl side chain. So in the common nomenclature, we call it as isopentyl. So here you have phenyl, here you have isopentyl. So what's the common name of this compound? It has to be, phenyl isopentyl ether, common name. Okay. Now, for these two compounds, we do not talk about common names, so we shall start writing the IUPAC names directly. We'll come to this. You know now, here in the ring compound, we have 6 carbon atoms. In the open chain, we have 7 carbon atoms. So if you want to write the IUPAC name, I should treat it as a derivative of heptane, 7 carbon atoms. So naturally, what will be this group? It is called phenyl-oxy-phenoxy group. So what is the IUPAC name of this compound? It is called phenoxyheptane. Phenyl-oxy-phenoxy. Phenoxyheptane is the IUPAC name. Same way, coming to this, you know, the main chain has 3 carbon atoms. Let me number them. First carbon atom, second and the third carbon atom here. Okay, so on the second carbon atom, we have a methoxy group here. So what should be the IUPAC name of the compound? On the second carbon atom, we have methoxy group. So it is 2-methoxy. 3 carbon atoms, propane derivative. So it is a 2-methoxy propane. So this is the IUPAC name. Same way, if we go to this molecule, here in the ring compound, 6 carbon atoms are there. In the side chain, we have altogether 5 carbon atoms. In other words, I can treat it as a derivative of a benzene ring system. This is going to be a complex side chain, because in the side chain, again you have a side chain. In such a case, how are we going to name it? You know that in the complex side chain, the carbon atom connected to the functional group should be given number 1. Then here you have second carbon atom, third carbon atom and the fourth carbon atom. So what is the IUPAC name of this complex side chain? You see, on the third carbon atom, we have methyl group. So it's a 3-methyl butyl oxy benzene. I repeat, this is a complex side chain. How do we name the complex side chain? We have to number the carbon atom of the complex side chain getting connected to the functional group as number 1. So numbering will be 1, 2, 3 and 4. On the third carbon atom of the complex side chain, there is a methyl side chain. That's why it is a 3-methyl. This entire group is called butyl, and here we have oxygen. So what is the IUPAC name? IUPAC name must be, it is a 3-methyl butoxy. 3-methyl butoxy benzene. So this should be the IUPAC name of the compound. And moving over to this example, I said there is no common name for this. Directly we go for IUPAC name. You know, the parent hydrocarbon contains 2 carbon atoms, ethane derivative. And you know that on the first carbon atom and on the second carbon atom, we have methoxy group. So what is the IUPAC name of this compound? You know, on the first and the second carbon atom, dimethoxy, and it is on ethane. IUPAC name of this compound is 1, 2. It is dimethoxy. Dimethoxy ethane is the IUPAC name. 1, 2 dimethoxy ethane. Now coming to the last example, it is a cyclohexane derivative, and we have 2 methyl groups on 1 carbon atom and 1 ethoxy group on the other carbon atom. So whenever you have such cases, First, you have to ensure that lowest sum rule is obeyed. Lowest number rule fails in this case. Either I can start from in this direction 1, 2 or 1, 2. So lowest number rule fails. We have to consider lowest sum rule. So when I consider lowest sum rule, if I number it like this carbon atom as number 1 and this carbon atom as number 2. If I go for sum of locands, in this case, I will get 1 plus 1 plus 2. So it becomes 4. On the other hand, if at all you number this way, this as 1 and this as 2, then what will be sum of locands? On the first carbon atom, we have ethoxy group. On the second carbon atom, I have 2 methyl groups. So it's a 1 plus 2 plus 2. So it becomes 5. Right? So which one will give you lowest sum of locands? The first one. So what is the correct numbering system then? So this is correct numbering system. 1 here and this has to be 2. And this is the other way we consider. This is 1 and this is 2. So which is the correct numbering system? This is the correct numbering system, 1 and 2. So with this we can write the IUPAC name of the compound. We have a dimethyl group and here we have ethoxy group. So if you consider alphabetical order rule, ethoxy should be written first and then it is methyl. So if I write the IUPAC name for this molecule, ethoxy group on which carbon atom? Second carbon atom, 2-ethoxy, 1, 1, dimethyl, cyclohexane. So here, why I have written ethoxy first and dimethyl later? You know that while deciding alphabetical order rule, numerical prefixes like di, tri, etc. must be ignored. So while deciding alphabetical order rule in this case, I am going to compare E of ethoxy with M of dimethyl. So E comes before M. That's why IUPAC name of this compound should be 2-ethoxy 1, 1 dimethyl cyclohexane. So this is the IUPAC name of the compound. We shall start from unsolved in-text questions. Here they have asked you to write the IUPAC names for some molecules. The first one we consider is this structure. So when you look at this structure, it's very clear that the principal functional group is OH. And always you have to ensure that the carbon atom carrying the principal functional group should get the lowest number. That's why the numbering should start from this carbon atom only. Though we have a chloro group here, chloro group is not a principal functional group. It's only OH is a principal functional group. That's why the carbon atom carrying the OH group should be given number 1. This has to be number 2. Here 3, 4 and 5. So if you consider the parent hydrocarbon, there should be 5 carbon atoms. And on the very first carbon atom we have alcoholic functional group. And once you consider that, you can make out, see on the second carbon atom, what we have is the isopropyl group, isopropyl. And on the third carbon atom, we have a chloromethyl group, chloromethyl. So when I want to write the IUPAC name, what should I do? I of isopropyl, we have to consider for alphabetical order. So here we have a chloromethyl, C of chloromethyl. I'll compare it with I of isopropyl. So according to alphabetical order rule, which one should come first? chloromethyl should come before isopropyl. So where do we have chloromethyl group? On the third carbon atom. So IUPAC name of that compound is 3-chloromethyl, and on the second carbon atom I have an isopropyl group. So it is a 2-isopropyl. So parent carbon chain has 5 carbon atoms. So it is a pent. All of them are connected by means of single bond, pentane, and it is one ol. So it is a 3-chloromethyl, 2-isopropyl, pentane, 1 ol. So that is the IUPAC name. Let's move over to the second one. When you look at the second molecule, there are 2 principal functional groups of the same type. OH here and OH here. Obviously, we have to start numbering from this direction. This has to be carbon atom number 1. So this is the second, here third, 4, here 5th and 6th carbon atom. Right? So when you consider this now, you know, we have a principal functional group on the first carbon atom and the third carbon atom. If I talk about side chains, methyl side chain on the second carbon atom, and also I have a methyl side chain on the 5th carbon atom. So when we write IUPAC name, you can make out on the second and the 5th we have 2 methyl groups. So I can write as 2,5 dimethyl, and in the main chain 6 carbon atoms, so it has to be hexane, and on the first and the third carbon atom OH groups is a 1,3 diol. So we have 2,5 dimethyl hexane 1,3 diol. That is the IUPAC name. Here again, you know, E has to be retained because it is followed by consonant D. So IUPAC name is 2,5-dimethyl hexane 1,3 diol. Coming to the third example, you know, OH group is a principal functional group. So bromo group will be treated as a substituent. So while numbering it, this is carbon atom number 1, this is 2, and this is the third carbon atom. So on the third carbon atom, we have a bromo group. So I'll write it as 3-bromo. And it's a cyclohexane. Parent hydrocarbon is cyclohexane. And of course, on the first carbon atom, we have OL. So this is the IUPAC name of this compound. Going to the fourth molecule, here again, you have a principal functional group here and unsaturation here. So you know, always a principal functional group gets a priority over double bond. So while numbering it, we have to start from left to right, because when we start numbering from left to right, on the third carbon atom we have OH group. On the other hand, if we start from right to left, on the fourth carbon atom we'll have OH group. So what's the correct numbering system? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. Right? So 6 carbon atoms, hex. You have a double bond after the first carbon atom. So hex 1-ene. And on the third carbon atom, OH group. That's why it is 3-ol. Hex 1-ene, 3-ol. Here again, there should have been E here, but because E is followed by one more vowel O, the previous vowel E, I'll cancel it. So hex 1-ene, 3-ol is the IUPAC name. Moving over to the last example, here obviously I have to start numbering from right to left, 1, 2, 3, 4. Here we have a bromo group on the second carbon atom, methyl group on the third carbon atom. Alphabetical order rule, bromo should come first. On the second carbon atom, bromo group. On the third carbon atom, methyl group. Alphabetical order is obeyed. B comes before N. Then there are 4 carbon atoms. It has to be but. And you know that after the second carbon atom there is a double bond. That's why it's a but. It is a 2-ene. And on the first carbon atom we have OH group 1-ol. So this is the IUPAC name of the molecule. We'll start from structures of alcohols, phenols and ethers. As an example for alcohol, I have considered methyl alcohol, and here we have phenol, and the last one is dimethyl ether. Let's consider the structure of methyl alcohol. In this case, the oxygen atom has undergone sp3 hybridization. The carbon atom of methyl group also has undergone sp3 hybridization. So, the carbon-oxygen sigma bond is formed by head-on overlapping of sp3 hybridized orbital of carbon with sp3 hybridized orbital of oxygen. I repeat, the carbon-oxygen sigma bond is formed by head-on overlapping of sp3 hybridized orbital of oxygen with sp3 hybridized orbital of carbon. The important observation is this particular bond angle. When you say oxygen atom has undergone sp3 hybridization, we expect this bond angle to be tetrahedral bond angle 109.5 degree. But what you observe is 108.5 degree. Now the question asked in the examination is why the bond angle COH is slightly less than the tetrahedral bond angle. For this we have to provide the reason. You can make out that on oxygen the 2 orbitals are occupied by lone pair of electrons. And according to VSEPR theory, you know that lone pair repulsion is greater than lone pair bond pair repulsion, which in turn is greater than bond pair repulsion. Since you have a greater lone pair repulsion, what will happen? These 2 bonds will be slightly pushed inwards, reducing the bond angle to 108.5 degree. So what is the reason you need to write? Greater repulsion between lone pair of electrons on oxygen reduces the bond angle to 108.5 degree. Coming to the structure of phenol, here again oxygen atom has undergone sp3 hybridization, whereas the carbon atom of the benzene ring has undergone sp2 hybridization. In other words, if you consider carbon-oxygen sigma bond in this case is formed by head-on overlapping of one of the sp3 hybridized orbital of oxygen with one of the sp2 hybridized orbitals of carbon. The next point is, if you look at carbon-oxygen bond length, this carbon-oxygen bond length is found to be 136 picometer, which is slightly less than that in methanol, where it is 142 picometer. The question asked is, why is it that the bond length of carbon-oxygen bond in phenol is slightly lower than that in methyl alcohol? So 2 reasons we can write for that. What is the first one? I think you have already studied about the concept of resonance. I can go on writing the resonating structures. What way I can go on writing? Here you have a lone pair of electron. I can shift the lone pair of electrons here. This bond can get shifted. And once you have a negative charge here, that negative charge can be shifted over here, and this bond should get shifted here. And then you will have a negative charge, so that should get shifted here, and this bond should get shifted here. In other words, the lone pair of electrons on oxygen are involved in conjugation with the benzene ring. Because of that, in the resonance hybrid, if you consider, this carbon-oxygen bond is neither purely a single bond nor purely a double bond. In between the two, we call it as partial double bond character. So, the carbon-oxygen bond in phenol has a partial double bond character due to the conjugation of lone pair of electrons of oxygen with the benzene ring. And as the bond order increases, bond length decreases. That's why the bond length decreases from 142 picometer to 136 picometer. So what is the first reason? The first reason is the partial double bond character of carbon-oxygen bond due to the conjugation of lone pair of electrons of oxygen with the benzene ring. What is the second reason you can write? The second reason is, this carbon atom has undergone sp2 hybridization. And also you know that sp2 hybridized carbon atom is more electronegative compared to sp3 hybridized carbon atom. When you say this carbon atom is more electronegative, what is the meaning? This carbon atom will pull the shared electron pair of carbon-oxygen bond towards itself strongly. As a result, the bond length should decrease. The second reason is the sp2 hybridized carbon, which being more electronegative, will pull the shared electron pair of carbon-oxygen bond towards itself strongly. Coming to the structure of dimethyl ether, here again you can make out that one oxygen and two carbon atoms undergo sp3 hybridization. The important question asked in this case is about the bond angle. We expect the bond angle to be 109.5 degree, but what is the observed bond angle? It's a 111.7 degree. Now the question is, why should the bond angle be greater than tetrahedral bond angle? So how to explain it? You know that the oxygen atom on either side is surrounded by two bulkier methyl groups. So whenever you have two bulkier methyl groups, there is a steric repulsion. Because of that, the bond angle is more than the normal tetrahedral bond angle.